We appreciate you. You came last year. You spent time with us last year as well. So this is a part 2 as well. And we appreciate you coming out to give us some financial strategies. And at this time, without any further ado, please welcome our National Treasurer, Fayreen Tober. Thank you.
Aloha. All right, I want to say first of all, thank you all. Thank the Southwest region for inviting me back to continue on part 2 of the budget, or how we do budgets. I was here last year and I went over some of the same things I'm going to do today, but I want to give the Southwest Regional Tamias and Tamiokas a kudos. They did an excellent job on doing your budget this year. So you need to give them a hand. Now, most people think working with a budget is hard. A lot of us, we don't do very well sometimes with money because we don't plan how to spend our money. Today we're gonna talk about budgeting. Budget is only a plan on how to spend your money. We hear that the love of money is the root of all evils, and I said not planning your money right is the root of all evils. Because you can have more money than you think you have that you make on your own if you just plan and budget right, okay? So first of all, you must have a written budget because you can't keep all this stuff in your head. You need to know where the money is coming from, and regardless of how little or how small, it is still a budget. And the budget it either will have no money, some money, or a large amount of money. Your first priority when you're doing the budget is to find out where is the money coming from. You can't have a budget if you ain't got no money, you know? And then for the sorority, most of our dues, or most of our money comes from where? Dues. And that's the only thing you can really count on are the dues. So you must make sure that you know what the dues are, where the money is coming from. And the one thing I want everybody to understand before you leave out of here, you can't spend what you don't have. Yeah. You just cannot do that. Your spending must equal to your earnings. Okay? All right, we're going to get started. I'm going to try to make sure I know how to do this. Okay, it said fiscal budget. So when you see what I'm doing, you're going to see that this is a template from National. You won't have everything in your chapter or in your region that's going to be on this template, but it's got to be something on here that you can use. So you're going to have enough things that you can pull out from. Greetings. It's time to celebrate new opportunities and expanding our financial future. That's what Codified Sorority on a national level has been doing. Okay, new vision for financial management. Our objective today is to highlight procedures for effective budgeting, improving fund management, developing informative reporting strategies, and looking at risk assessments. And the one thing that all chapters, treasurer, Tamiokas need to be bonded. Okay, I just said you had to have a written budget so you can see what you're doing, because you can't see, if you don't have a budget written, you don't know what you're supposed to be doing. So what you can see, you can measure. So you write the budget out, you see what it is, then you decide how you're going to use it. You should have missions and goals for your budget, and your budget should provide a means for you to measure and control your program and finances. You can't say we need this and you haven't put it in your line item and you don't know where the money's coming from, okay? And budget should be reasonable, achievable, flexible, which means if it needs to change, and it only needs to change because there is a need to be changed. One thing is, as a financial officer or as a member of a chair, you're given, hopefully you give the finance people your budget so they can, enter it into, on the budget for your, chapter for the year. But if you spend up all your money in, 3 months, guess what? You probably don't have any money. So that's one reason why you do a budget, and we all should make sure that the finance people that's gonna do the budget every year have your budgets in advance. Okay, and the budget should reflect the mission, so you should know what you're gonna do with every single penny that you have in your budget. Even your, the extras that you might have, you should know that if you need something, that's what that money is gonna be for. Your program services, your support services, and what I'm finding out that most chapters don't do is fundraising budget. You get ready to do an event and you actually have no money to do the event, so we're gonna talk about that one later. Okay, now this is what your money should look like. This is how you measure and control. 75 to 80% of the monies, which is dues that you take in, should go to your programs and projects. Anywhere from 15 to 20% should go to support services, and that means your tapiokas, your president, or whomever chair, whatever chair that is, whatever money they might need to spend during their tenure in the position that they're in, there should be money there. Nobody should have to go out of their pocket to spend money for chapter funds. You just shouldn't have to do that. And then fundraising. And this is where we really don't do very much with it, but 5 to 10% of your earnings should go to fundraising. So when you get ready to do that fundraising, you have some funds to go to. You don't have to go into your programs and projects money. You don't have to go into your support service money. You already have money for your fundraising. Okay, now this you're gonna look at is basically what National have, and actually chapters have it too. You got total active members, you got life members, you got beta members, honorary, and when you get through looking at the income, now this is the budget, is actual and proposed. The income, we've already said that most of the money comes from membership dues. Okay, whatever your membership dues, and I left those numbers in there so you can see them, but whatever your membership dues are, you should have a figure that you're taking something out of that membership dues for whatever you need. $125, of course, we gone up to $150, but out of that $125 comes $85, general fund. That's the operating money. That's the operating money. So y'all always should have some operating money. And then, of course, we got house and headquarters, but we don't have that. Scholarships. All chapters, regions give scholarships. Out of your membership dues, you should have a certain amount of money that comes out from scholarship, because we all know that nobody else is gonna give us any money to give anybody else any scholarships. Yeah. So it's up to us to protect what we have and use our own resources. So out of that, whatever your membership dues is, you should do a certain amount that comes out for scholarship. And then whatever else you might have that you gotta do on a yearly or monthly basis should come out of your membership dues. Undergraduates, the same thing. If you have betas that you're trying to help them do a budget, it should look like this as well. So when you get through taking money for general fund, for whatever else you need, for scholarship, for fundraising and all, when you get through, that whole total line of numbers equal to that $125 or whatever your chapter dues are, because that's only money that you can put your finger on that you can say is yours. Okay, that's another part of that one. Okay, then estimated income. Now this is where the most of the time proposed income come, and I'll talk about that a little bit later. But we all have some ways, or we usually have some ways that we think we're gonna raise money. We're in a meeting and somebody say, well, we're gonna do a garage sale. Somebody said we're gonna do a bake sale. Somebody said we're gonna sell raffle tickets. Okay, whatever your estimated, wherever you think you're gonna get your estimated income, it should go in your budget. It should be up there so you'll know that if we do a garage sale, we expect to make how much, whatever it is. So then that becomes a proposed income, and then the next year when you redo your budget, then it actually shows what you did. But that is the way we do estimated income. We have book sales, and you can use this garage sales and whatever else you might want to do to get you extra money into your chapter. Okay, these are some of the things that we actually sell, so we get money from. If your chapter has something that you actually do, maybe some paraphernalia, and you do that every year and it goes into your budget, then this is what you would use that for, would be actual income. Let's see. Okay. We don't always look at the officers that we elect to serve on our chapter levels, but they need money for different things. Postage, ink, paper, and whatever they might need. Then this is where you should have that in your budget. You should have a line item for your bachelors, you should have one for your treasurer, you should have one for your secretary, you should have one for every elected and or appointed officer in your chapter. You should have a line item. Even if they don't use it, it should be there. We're going to talk a little bit about expenditures. Now, when we talked about the chapter dues is what you get from your membership, and you figure out how you're going to spend it. Then you look at what you're going to give. Most of us do donations. We give to the homeless shelters, we give to the women's shelters, we give to American Red Cross, whoever we're going to give to. That should be on your budget. It shouldn't be, we come to a meeting, we decide we're going to get Salvation Army, even if it's $50. It should be on your budget, that's what you're going to give. And these are just more expenditures, but all your expenditures should be in your budget. Remember now, you can't spend no more than you have. Okay, those are other expenditures that you might have in your chapter. And only you know what your chapter actually do. You know how much money your dues are. And maybe for some, nobody likes to talk about dues increase, but it's kind of hard to sometimes keep things going when you hadn't had a dues increase in 5 or 6 years. And then, you're always asking, we're always asking the members to come out of their pocket to give this, to give that. And then people don't want to come to meeting because we always asking them to give this and give that. And they say, I already paid my dues. What they doing with that money over there? Okay? So, it's real life. So we need to make sure that if an auditor came in, an outside auditor came in and looked at your finances, they're not going to look at your bank statements. They're going to look at your budget and how you have proposed that budget for a year or a couple of years out. And those other expenditures, so like I said, I know you're not going to be able to use all of these, but you can use some of it and just place in whatever it is that you actually do. Okay, there are some other estimated. Now, liability Every chapter needs liability. And it's not as expensive as you think. Most of us have car insurance and we have house insurance. And all you need to do is ask one of your insurance dealers if they provide liability, and they'll tell you that. Because especially when you're having a function, you need liability. So if something happened, whatever happened will be taken care of by the insurance. Because you do know, even if the event is small, and someone come in and fall, and then they sue you for their fall, if you don't have liability insurance, then all of that's going to fall on you, your chapter. So look at it, and once you get one insurance or liability, it actually covers everybody, all the members in the sorority. These are publications that we have, and I don't know that anybody sell any books. I know one region at one time, I guess maybe they still do, they did a cookbook. So we get royalties from that. So when that comes in, we put that in. Okay, again, estimated expenditures, postage and freight, stamps and envelopes, really is, it might be estimated as to what you think you might spend when you first start a budget, but by the time you get into that second and third year, you know exactly what you're paying for postage and freight and stamps and ink, and so you need to make sure that that money is put into your budget so you will have it when you need it. None of us have an assistant working for us, so we're going to go past that one. That's on the national level. Of course, if you did have someone that you were paying to do some of your sorority work, then they wouldn't need to be on your budget as well. Okay, that's American Heart Association and all, and I've already talked about them. So most of the time you do give some donations to some of these associations. Miscellaneous, that was something that we were doing on the national level. Okay, and actual proposed, again, the officers and committees. You need to put down what you paying your officers are not paying. Ooh, that was the wrong word. Put down what the officers might need in their positions, and put down what the committee chairs might need in their position, and you count that up, and that's part of your budget. We really should never leave out people, because we all are doing volunteer. This is volunteer work for us when we're in positions in our chapters. Nobody gets paid. So just put everything in there that you think you need, and all the officers and the committee members need to have given their budget and finance people, which is the Tamias, the Tamiokas, a budget. And if you don't give a budget, then you cannot fuss at the end when the budget is made and there's no money there for you. So please, if they ask you, go ahead and give a budget. All right. I remember one year we were going to in the different regions, and we were talking about each region, especially regions, having some investment money, and even some chapters having investment money. But we all ought to have some money somewhere in our chapters that's put aside for either investments or emergencies or whatever it is that we think we might need. But we could invest. It doesn't cost a lot to invest. You put a little in, you get a little back, you put a little bit more in, you get a little back, and then eventually, sometimes you have a little bit more money than you thought you had. Okay, now I've got a question mark there. I'm gonna stop right here because what I would like for you all to do is to plan an event. And the reason I'm saying that is because sometimes we plan events, and when we get through planning everything, we realize we don't have all that money with all the big ideas that we had about the event. So now we gotta bag up and either not have it or try to find another place. So when we're doing events, and let's see, I would like for you all to move around, go to somebody else's chapter, and not with your own, because you might learn something from some of the other people that have planned the event. So if you would do that right now quickly. Yes. SWRC paper. Okay, here she's coming around with the paper. Yeah, I'm gonna give you instructions in just a second. Okay, as soon as everyone gets seated, I will tell you what I need you to do in planning your event. Okay, I want you all to decide that you're gonna plan an event. There's a couple of things that you're gonna need to know before you plan this event. The first thing is, where is the initial money coming from? I told you that in the presentation. Yeah. So where is that money coming from? So somebody write these down so when you get ready to plan the event, you can ask these questions. So where was the initial money coming from to plan the event? Okay, write it down, and you all get to explain it to us in a minute or so. How did you determine the cost of the event? How did you determine the cost of the event? Once you determine the cost of the event, what amount did you fix the ticket price for? Once you determine the cost of the event, what amount did you fix the ticket price for? Now let me tell you what the ticket price is going to cover so you'll know what it is you have to do. That ticket is going to cover the food. And if you don't do anything else, you have to charge the people for the food. The entertainment of the speakers is going to pay for event insurance. Okay, the ticket price is paying for food, entertainment, event insurance, a place to host the event, and the number of people or number of tickets you propose to sell. That's it, okay. Oh, I'm sorry, that's it. At least I said till you finish. We'll see what happens when you get through. I'm going to give you all 15 minutes to do that because we have some time.
You're gonna do 2 hours. Yeah. Okay. 2 to 4. 2 to 4.
Oh, okay. So I might give you back some time. I know everybody like that. No, give back some time. So I'm just gonna kind of walk around.
This is good stuff. Yeah, absolutely.